Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Rule Well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noah's in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will to be edifying. It says, baby trafficker Oprah Winfrey wears jewelry made from child body parts. Now, this is from the People's Voice, and of course, they have a ton of disinformation out there regarding these particular websites, because when you look it up, it says it's fake news. But you got to question the fact that if it's really fake, then why are they trying so hard to ban these channels if they're not being transparent about the information that's being presented on you devils? Okay, now, while you take things with a grain of salt, and I'm not giving them 100% full credibility on whether this is true or not, but we understand that these elites are in a business of sacrifice. All right, human sacrifice. And we told you that these lower level luminaries like Oprah, Jay-Z, Beyonce, hell, even Michael Jordan, they're questioning his ass about a video that came out years ago. But, you got Diddy, you got the Bill Cosbys, the R. Kellys, these Boule members, which, they're part of the Boule, which is basically the black version of the Masons, or the so-called Freemasons. It's being put out there. And one thing about you black women, they worship some goddamn Oprah. I remember as a child, my mom, man, she used to be heavy into this witch, which Oprah is nothing but a witch. Okay, found out when the time of the fires in Maui, because she had property out there in Maui, Hawaii, when those when they were burnt down, 2-3 years ago, maybe. I think back in 2024, we had those fires that hit Maui and Lahaina and all those other places out there in Hawaii. Allegedly, she was like blocking access to some roads or some shit. I can't recall, but regardless of it, her name was on a lot of those patents, so to speak. And, you got the people out there that say, oh, nah, you can't say that about Oprah. Why the fuck not? All right, what make Oprah so goddamn righteous? And the fact that she's a so-called billionaire, that lets you know right there that she's juiced in with those peoples. Okay, she's a Marxist at the end of the day. She's a Marxist, she's a feminist, and she totally goes with the Marxist agenda, which Marxism ain't nothing but witchcraft. Okay, there's a book called The New World Order by Ralph Emerson that goes all into it. How he goes into how Karl Marx was a Satanist, and that how his children and wife and they all died of crazy causes, man, because of like certain rituals and shit. So these devils, man, they got a lot to pay for. And you jakes, they put up these people like Oprah to keep you niggas in the dark, man, because you put your faith in these unsure guys, man. Okay? So, it says mainstream media's official narrative, Oprah's 3-decade orbit of pedophiles or PDF files, traffickers, and baby farmers with just bad luck, a string of unfortunate coincidences. But it says here, unfortunately for Oprah, the Epstein files have blown open an entire grotesque subculture of trafficking, consumption, and depravity on an industrial scale. It says hundreds of high-level elites and major companies are implicated in the files. And according to Epstein files, investigators, one name connects them all. Oprah Winfrey, the daytime TV queen, trusted in millions of homes, now faces explosive accusations for multiple Epstein survivors. It says they call her the broker, allegedly trafficking vulnerable children to the world's most powerful men, then keeping cruel mementos of their suffering, body parts that she even wears as gold-encrusted jewelry, even while offering sympathy on air to grieving mothers and searching for their missing daughters. Every time I do a video, somebody always fucking calling me. Anyway, like I said, she's a witch, okay? But it says here, it says Oprah Winfrey's public image has already cracked to those ties to Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein's circle, and John of God, her personal faith healer, who she promoted until he was sentenced to 370 years in prison for running a global baby trafficking empire. Yeah, this is the her handler. You know, the all of the shit you people didn't put this bitch on a pedestal, but yet her handler got 370 years. But you black ass women ain't talking about that. It says now bombshell Epstein documents reveal that a woman stated on birth record that Epstein offered her money to birth babies for black market use, but she's also linked John of God to Jeffrey Epstein and Oprah, who allegedly connected the two. Okay? It says, according to the sources close to the investigations, Oprah hasn't just been hiding in plain sight, but she's rubbing shoulders with some of the most infamous names in child trafficking and exploitation, all while using her public platform to slowly, methodically normalize the unthinkable. It says FBI insiders are finally saying out loud what our research has been exposing for years. But it says Oprah wasn't merely Jeffrey Epstein's associate. She wasn't John of God's friend. She was their partner in crime. It says investigators have uncovered proof she played a direct role in funneling vulnerable children and newborn babies straight into the hands of the global elites, man. All right, so hey, this shit goes real deep. Okay, now we went into this, and this scripture has come out several times, but we're gonna go into it again because it's just relevant for the topic. So once again, those of you out there that got a problem with the same precepts coming out, then it's probably wise for you to just go watch another channel, because a lot of these same precepts will come out because it's just a relevant topic. Okay, but the key thing is the information that's coming out on these people, and the Lord is exposing all. All right, so once again, Wisdom of Solomon 12, and I'm going to start at verses 3. It says, for it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of the Holy Land, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and wicked sacrifices. Okay, these elites are involved in all types of Satanism. Okay, if you didn't think Oprah was a Satanist, then hey, now you know. Like I remember, years ago, I was telling my OG, I was like, yeah, Oprah, she's juiced in, and she wasn't really scoffed, but at the same time, nobody really believed shit we was saying, especially when it's coming out of my mouth. Like, people don't believe shit, that we say until it actually manifests itself. Now all this information coming out, you think they're gonna pick up the phone and say, yeah, you were right? Fuck no, they're gonna still find a way to discredit you and say you was in a cult and you was bugged out. But I said all these celebrities, your TV shows, BET, on all them, Quincy Jones, all these jakes have been juiced in with the elites, doing their bidding because they're puppets. Okay, like this chick by the name of Jaguar Wright, which she's paid opposition, because how the hell are you a lower level industry plant, but yet you know all this information? Okay, they clearly informed you on it because you're clearly a plant. But she was breaking down on how Jay-Z was chosen to do what he was going to do. He's a gatekeeper. Okay, Beyonce, gatekeeper. Fucking Diddy, a gatekeeper. Oprah, a gatekeeper. Michael Jordan, a gatekeeper. Steve Harvey, a gatekeeper. D.L. Hughley, a gatekeeper. And I'm talking about the jakes of this cabal, man. Because there's levels to it. You got the Illuminati, or the Illuminated ones. All right. Then you got your Freemasons. And then, you got your Boule members, which is these niggas. Which they work for the elites. They're puppets. That's why Nicki Minaj was tweeting what she was tweeting. Your favorite rapper is in rituals, including your fucking ass. But it says, and also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of men's flesh and feast of blood, and with their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crews, and their parents that kill with their own hands, souls destitute of help. Okay? So yeah, man, Jake was heavy into sorcery, into witchcraft, into the unthinkable. But now the Heavenly Father is exposing it all, man, because he said that's what he was going to do. All right. Let's go from here to the book of Luke 8 and 17. And it reads, it says, no man, when he had lighted a candle, covered with a vessel, or put it under a bed, but set it on a candlestick, that they which enter in may see the light, because we're the light. All right. And the prophets, we've been shedding light on this whole ordeal for the longest, and nobody believed us. But when Esau brings it out, then all of a sudden everybody is credible. Oh, he's the credible source because the white man said it. But when we were saying it, we weren't nothing but a bunch of conspiracy theorists, man. For nothing is secret that should not be made manifest, neither anything hid that should not be known to come abroad. Yeah. Okay. So everything is coming to the light. Everything is being exposed, man. And Yahweh Shai is the one that's exposing these devils. And you Jakes, you're being exposed too, because this is what Yahweh Shai said, man. Gain world. Luke 9:25 is good, but let's get it in Matthew 16:26. And it reads, it says here, matter of fact, let's start at verses 24. It says, then said Yahweh Shai unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. And then you got this chick, like, you know how you got them Gail King and all those, Whoopi Goldberg, I think it was called The View. And then you got Ella DeGeneres, which it came out that she was a major player in this underground trafficking nonsense, man. A major player. As the apostles rightfully call her, Ellen DeGenerate, which she's a small hat, man. All right. But anyway, it says here, if any man come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. It reads, for whosoever would save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. And these people, they sold out. Okay, Oprah was handpicked, or whatever, you know, whatever institution, whatever fucking college she went to, she was already handpicked to be a witch for the New World. Well, I won't even say for the New World Order, because she's lower level. But nonetheless, she's a gatekeeper into you Jakes, man. And you black women, I mean, used to suck Oprah's nuts, man. I mean, heavy. You couldn't say nothing bad about Oprah, or the wrath of the black woman will come down on your ass. When find out that this bitch is a total goddamn Marxist, man. And now she been a demon. All right, Oprah is a fucking demon, right along with Tyra Banks. What's that bent up bride, Wendy Williams? All right, bitch look like a balled up Frosted Flake box talking shit, man. And I believe they did something to her too. You know? But it's all coming out, man. And you Jakes, and the Most High just finna just start wiping you Jakes out, man. But it reads, it says, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. It says, for what is a man profited if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what should a man give in exchange for his soul? And we told you that Sophia, what that nigga Harper, so he said Sophia. She sold out, man. Okay, she had her own TV studio, had her own show back in the 80s and 90s. She was on, you know, certain podcasts. Oprah is a billionaire, man. She's up there with Michael Jordan, rubbing elbows with, you know, Warren Buffett and all them devils. She's never been in a process of looking out for you Jakes. Oprah don't give a damn about you Jakes, man. She spread Marxism to you women, feminism, telling that you be better than a man and talking all this shit about God. But yet the bitch is a fucking demon. You know? Same thing with Beyonce. You couldn't say nothing wrong about Queen B. Now all of a sudden, now she's being implicated in the Epstein files, and now all of a sudden you black women want to turn coat. What the hell with all y'all? But it says here, while the Hollywood elite showered her with praise, and she graciously accepted every glittering trophy, including Disney's own Legend Award, the highest honor of the Mouse House bestows, which Disney is witchcraft, man. Walt Disney is a sorcerer, and he's a pedo. And it says, and while all she was quietly orchestrating something far more sinister behind the scenes, Disney cruise ships packed with wide-eyed kids routinely docked in Little St. James. And what about that school she opened up in Africa? What happened to all them kids there? Nobody questioning that, right? But it says coincidence. But at this point, who even believed that? But it says this isn't random association. This is organized, and this is RICO-level conspiracy, which the RICO was set up for Jake, man. Jake, you get caught up in a RICO, you ain't beating that shit. You gonna get caught up in that, man. You know? And it says industrial scale crimes against most innocent among us, and they didn't stop at private islands or desert ranches. But it says Oprah and Einstein or Epstein, Slovakia, weaponized their access to the highest levels of power, turning boardrooms into extensions of their network. It says the Epstein files revealed he purchased Wayfair furniture for his close friend Woody Allen. Nothing to see here, folks, but It says, and then there's the bombshell from Epstein survivor Juliet Bryant, someone who lived in horror, was trafficking, drug, and in prison across the properties. It says she reveals Epstein didn't just know Oprah, but he bragged to insiders that he held a controlling stake in the OWN network, and Oprah's entire media empire was just another cog in the elite blackmail and control machine. Damn. It says, for those who are following the money, this is a rabbit hole to go down. But it says Epstein bragged about turning that place into an underground baby factory, a twisted version of impregnating young girls, godly, harvesting their children, and seeing or seeding what he called his superior bloodline. Eugenics on steroids, pure nightmare fuel, and courtesy of Oprah Winfrey and her network. Wow. Okay. And it goes deep. I'm not finna read all this, man. But you get the point. These lower level elites, these nigga celebrities, hey, they all are implicated in this. All right. We kept telling you black women that this demon Oprah, she was not a saint. Okay. So let me say that. That's going to be a thumbnail. And you know, people going to come and say, you can't be saying, you know, they already discredit the people's. They already tried to say that this was fake news, but they going to try to shut these sites down. Me personally, I don't believe all this shit is fake. Now, while there are other credible sources out there, of course, there will always be, but you get the point. You ain't going to ever hear about this in MSNBC, and definitely not in the Congress hearings, you know. So anyway, let's go here to the book of, what we at? Psalm 64. And let's start at verses 5. It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter, and they commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? Yeah, because all this was done behind closed doors. You know, all that forefront and networking, that was all for face value. It's what goes on behind the curtain, you know, like the wizard behind the curtain. That's what this was all about. Like we told you, man, everybody finna start. The Lord is finna bring all this shit to light, you know? And it reads, and it says, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But the Most High should shoot at them with an arrow, and suddenly they should be wounded. Yeah, the truth, first and foremost. It says, so that they should make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and all that see them should flee away. And all men should fear, and should declare the work of their power, for they should wisely consider of his doing. So this is Yahweh Shai opening up the rabbit hole on their ass, man. All right. And it ain't nothing that this devil can do to get out of it, because the Most High got him. Okay. He's caught, man. You know, and those of you out there that say we making this shit up, look, hey, the hell with you, man. How about you go make something up? Obadiah 1, and I'm going to start at 6. It says, how are the hidden things, or how are the things of Esau searched out? How is his hidden things sought up, man? Okay, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, and the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And they that eat their bread have laid a wound under thee, and there's no understanding in him. Yeah, because the shit is sloppy as hell. Okay, it's sloppy, and it's all over the place. It don't make sense. And now they're scrambling, man, because they're caught. All right. What is it? Proverbs 11. I think it's Proverbs. Yep, 11 and 20. I'm going to start at verses 20. It says, they that are of a forward heart are an abomination to the Lord. And these devils are very forward in their thinking and their doing and their dealings. And it reads, and it says here, but such are upright in the way of his delight. But it says here, though hand join in hand, the wicked should not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. Yeah. So she's joined hand in hand with the wicked, and she's going to be judged with them because she's part of them. Just because she's a nigger woman, that don't mean shit. The black woman is the biggest advocate for the white man's wickedness, man. Clearly. Zechariah 11 and 5, it says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. It says, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So they don't give a fuck about us, man. Okay, that's set up to keep you jakes asleep and to keep you in a tainted mindset, man. Okay, because the Lord said, woe to you that trust in oppression. All right, these the luminaries, even among Jacob, set up to keep you in oppression, man. Okay, Jeremiah 17:5. Thus says the Lord, cursed be the man that trusted in man and maketh flesh his arm, whose heart departed from the Lord. Okay, it says, for he should be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched palaces in the wilderness, and the salt of the land not inhabited, man. But blessed is the man that trusts in Yahweh, and whose hope the Lord is. For he should be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and should not see when the heat cometh, which is the destruction, but her leaf should be green, and should not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. So I'm going to end it here, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you will edify. To the next lesson. Shalom.